My name is Tori, and I am passionate about helping people in their 20s and 30s learn how to thrive in life, no matter what gets thrown at them. Today, we will be exploring how you, yes, you, can give yourself a life audit, like right now. Maybe you're feeling stuck in a rut. Maybe you're feeling hopeless and depressed because you actually feel completely unfulfilled and nobody knows. Maybe you haven't come close to hitting some of the goals that you've set yourself for this last year. This brings up a good point, actually.
Tori, why aren't you doing this kind of video in the new year, when everyone sets goals that no one really sticks to?
Well, here's why. No matter what month you're watching this in, the year isn't over. We don't need to constantly wait until January 1st to make goals, to realize we need to make changes, to do life audits. We don't have to wait until then. The strongest start you can have to your year is the one you choose to take today, even if it's December 31st. And if it is, Happy New Year's Eve. If you stay to the end, there's going to be something very special for you that I'm giving away for free. So make sure you watch until then. So maybe you're asking, how can a life audit actually help me? How can it improve my life? If you're looking to inject some self-awareness and encourage intentional living in your world, then I highly recommend you take some time to explore and assess the different areas of your life. I promise you it'll be worth it. Maybe you feel a lack of meaning or a lack of purpose right now. Are you constantly finding that you're operating on autopilot? Do you feel numb? Are you living life with your gas tank on empty? Maybe you actually don't feel any of those things, but you keep asking yourself, what do I want to do in life? And you can never get an answer. If you can relate to any of that, then keep watching. So how can you audit your life today? Practically speaking, you are going to need to type or write certain things out. Now, I'm not going to ask you to do an essay because I wouldn't want to do that. But for each section, there's going to be a little bit of room for you to write. I promise it won't be much. I think it's really important when we're doing things like this for you to see in black and white on a piece of paper or on a screen the things that you write down. Some people like to use handwriting because they feel like if they handwrite it themselves, it's gonna go into their brain more and they're going to recall it easier. Others like the streamlined and maybe orderly way of typing it out. And they like to do this either on a computer, a phone, or a tablet. All of those ways are perfectly fine. Whatever is comfortable for you is great. I want you to make 3 columns. But there's going to be actually 4 sections. So the 3 columns are question, score, and lights. Sounds like I'm saying lights, camera, action, but I'm not. But trust me, there's a process. There is going to be an action section after, but it's not a column. And like I said, I might have a gift at the end for you to actually make this really easy. In the first column, the questions column, guess what? You're going to write some questions. I'm going to start you off with some questions, but I really encourage you to write your own questions as well because everyone's situation in life is unique and there might be some questions that you really do need to ask yourself that maybe I might not ask me or I might not think of. But let me give you a big tip. No one else is going to see this but you. So you know what that means, right? Ask yourself the hard questions and be brutally honest because if you try and fake yourself, you're only playing yourself and this won't work. So here are some examples of some questions that you can write down and eventually answer. But I'd really encourage you to freestyle some questions for yourself. These are only to start you off with. How much do I like my life right now? Do I feel satisfied and fulfilled on a daily basis? Am I taking care of myself? Am I prioritizing the right things in the everyday and also every week? How stressed do I feel every day? How passionate am I about what I do for a living? How do I rate my current social relationships? If you're with someone, how do you rate that relationship? How healthy am I right now? You can even Google life audit questions yourself to get some inspiration. And I highly encourage that. Once you have a set of good questions, and don't skimp on this, I want you to score 1 to 10 for each question in the score column. Again, be brutally honest. There's no one here to impress. I'm not going to see it. The only person here that's going to see it is you, and you really don't need to impress yourself. Now onto the lights column. Now this is going to be a traffic light system, but if you would prefer to use other colors to match different lights, that's completely fine. Whatever works for you. If you've answered a question with a score between 7 and 10, then I want you to put a green mark in the light column next to it. If it's a score of 4 to 6, then I want you to put a yellow light or dot or circle or whatever shape or heart. And if it's a score of 1 to 3, then yes, you guessed it. I want you to put a red mark or shape or whatever in the light column next to that score in question. Why do this? I fully believe that colors and visual stimulus can help us make sense of scores easier. And with just one glance, honestly. It's much nicer and much easier to look at a column and immediately identify the areas in your life that you need to work on, and maybe other areas that might not be such a priority right now, and other areas that you're actually doing great in. This is not for you to fix everything. This is just for you to be aware of what's going on in your life. This is an audit of what's happening right now. These questions and these scores are to help you become more aware of the areas in your life that maybe you need to prioritize more and other areas that you actually don't. It also will help you to discover what's working in your life and what's not. So after the columns, there's going to be an action section. I wonder what you're going to do there. This part is crucial. For each light color, I want you to make a heading. But of course, if you wait until the end, it might already be done for you. So for me, I chose the traffic light system because it works easier and I can glance at it and know exactly what those colors mean. So under each heading, so for me, it's green, yellow, and red. For each question, I want you to look at the score and the corresponding light with it. And you are going to write down some action points. I'm not expecting you to write a whole life plan of how you're going to fix every issue. I just want you to write a few action points that you feel like today you can implement, or at least make a start. Jot some things that maybe you need to add into your life, maybe things you need to change, or maybe some stuff that you need to take away. Maybe there's a big red light next to the question, how passionate are you about what you do for a living? And actually, your action points are figuring out what your passions are, what you're passionate about. Because yes, you can change and you can shift, and that's okay. Maybe you need to actually pursue a more advanced qualification in order to do something better that you love. Maybe there's a way you can progress in your career by taking a course or going to a conference. Maybe you actually need to dramatically pivot and go back to school and choose something that you really love to do. You can do all of those things. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 60, you could go back to school, and you could choose to do something that you love. It's okay to pivot in life. It's okay to change, it's okay to shift, it's okay to grow. There could be one action point for some questions, or there could be many action points. That's fine, just go with the flow. By the end of this action section, you should have a list of things you can do that range from a high priority, like stuff you need to give CPR to in your life, to this is not really a priority right now because things are actually going okay here. But at least you have a record of some ideas you need to implement in the future. So even if you have some things that are green, you're thinking, well, I don't really need to action anything. There's always room for improvement, and I would encourage you to at least write one thing down, even if it's just to maintain the fact that things are going so well in this particular area of life, because things can go up and down. I always find it really overwhelming to think about things that I need to do, I need to change, or I need to improve in my life, because I always find there's just a list of about a million things. But it is not until I've clearly written it out and I can see a little mini action plan that I'm like, actually, I can do that one thing, or I can do this thing over here. Until that happens, my brain feels like a really tangled up ball of yarn, and I can't seem to find the end to it. I certainly can't seem to unravel it. It's always important to know where to start, and with this life audit, you can find places that you can start today and even plan for things you might need to change in the future that might require a little bit more time. This audit has been made to help you with exactly that. This is not a list that's set in stone. This is something you can add to, you can change, you can edit, you can take things out, you can add things in. Whatever you want to do, I just encourage you just to use it. It is a jumping off point. It's a start. So if you are interested, I've already created a life audit that you can use and you can print off, or maybe you have a tablet and you can write on it right now. So make sure you click on the link below in the description, and I've made it for you, so there's no excuses. Really, it's already there. Thank you so much for choosing to hang out with me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have fun doing your life audits, and I'll see you in the next one.